In September 2023, one of the largest hotel and casino companies in the United States was brought to its knees. Slot machines went dark, digital room keys stopped working, reservation systems, email, the mobile app down. The casino floor stayed offline for about 10 days, and MGM later disclosed the hit at over $100 million. The attackers didn't burn a 0-day. They didn't break the firewall. They picked up the phone and called the IT help desk. They pretended to be a locked out employee and they asked for help getting back in. They're not hacking in, they're logging in. That same group hit Caesars in the same window. Caesars reportedly paid a ransom of around $15 million. And in 2025, the FBI put out a public warning that the same crews had moved on to the airline industry. Same move every time. Call the help desk. Talk your way in. Here's the part almost nobody says to the person actually working that help desk. The seat you're sitting in is now one of the most attacked positions in the entire company. You are not outside of security. You are already standing in the middle of it. You just haven't been paid, titled, or trained like it yet. Let's fix that. If you spend your day resetting passwords, clearing print queues, and talking panicked users off the ledge, here is the claim this whole video is going to back up. Moving from help desk to SOC analyst is one of the shortest, most repeatable moves in the entire US blue team job market. Not because it's easy, because the two jobs run on the exact same operating loop. Monitor a queue, triage by severity, investigate, document, escalate. You already do all six, every single shift. So the story you've been told that breaking into security means starting from zero is just wrong. You are not missing 3 pillars, you are missing one, and by the end of this, you will know exactly which one and exactly how to close it. Put a Tier 1 help desk job posting next to a Tier 1 SOC posting. The resemblance stops being cute and starts being uncomfortable. The help desk posting says, monitor the ticket queue, prioritize by business impact, investigate the error, document what you did, escalate what you can't resolve. The SOC posting says, monitor the alert queue, prioritize by threat severity, investigate the event, document your findings, escalate what you can't close. Same verbs, same discipline, same muscle. What changes is the question you're asking. On the help desk, you ask, why is this broken? In the SOC, you ask, is this hostile? That's the shift. One question. And it's a much smaller shift than the industry wants you to believe, because everything underneath the question, the triage instinct, the discipline of writing it down, knowing when something is worth escalating, you already own all of it. Now, let's talk about what that alert queue actually looks like, because this is where your experience quietly becomes worth a lot of money. The average enterprise security team gets buried. Industry surveys across 2025 and 2026 put the typical volume somewhere between 2,000 and 4,500 security alerts every single day. And study after study finds that roughly half of them are false positives. Some reports put it higher. It gets worse. A large share of those alerts are never fully investigated at all. Teams simply can't keep up. One 2025 industry report found that a majority of security teams admitted to ignoring alerts that later turned out to be critical. Think about what that means. The job is not spot the obvious attack. The job is find the 3 real threats hiding inside 3,000 pieces of noise without setting your hair on fire over the other 2,997. That is a triage problem. That is literally the skill you have been sharpening every day on the help desk, figuring out fast which ticket is a printer and which one is the building on fire. Here's where the two jobs stop being identical. A help desk ticket comes with a story. A human typed it. I can't get into the VPN. A security alert comes with no story at all. It says something like 47 failed logins on one machine in 90 seconds, followed by one success. So, is that an attack? Or is it a service account with an expired password, hammering the server at 2 in the morning like it does every night? If you've ever run a Windows environment, you've met that second scenario. You know it exists. You know what normal looks like on a real network. Someone who studied for 6 months and never touched a live system does not. And that is the entire ballgame, because here is what happens when nobody has that instinct. Go back to the Target breach in 2013. Their tools actually fired the alerts. The warnings were there, but they were buried under thousands of routine, low-priority notifications, and they got treated as noise. By the time anyone acted, attackers had stolen data on more than 40 million payment cards. The tools did their job. The triage judgment wasn't there. That judgment, knowing what deserves your attention, is the thing you're already building. You just call it figuring out which ticket actually matters. So, what does it actually take to do this job? 3 pillars. 1. Computers. How a machine works from the inside. Operating systems, processes, services, the registry, scheduled tasks, authentication. 2. Networking. How machines talk, protocols, ports, DNS, proxies, and being able to read network traffic without flinching. 3. Incident handling. The methodical process of detecting, analyzing, containing, and recovering from a security event. Read those 3 with your own resume in hand. If you've done real help desk or sysadmin work, you already own most of pillars 1 and 2, not from a textbook, from the job. You understand what a service account is because one broke on your watch at 2 a.m. Pillar 3 is the gap. That's the one you're missing. And even that is just a specialized version of something you already do. Take it in, classify it, investigate, act, write it down, hand it off. The steps are familiar, only the evidence is new. That is not a career change. That's a lateral move with a reading list. So how do you close that one gap without wasting a year on the wrong things? At Blue Team Academy, we teach a 4-step method for defending any environment: inventory, threats, controls, scale, and the useful trick is that it works just as well on your career as it does on a network. Inventory. Get brutally honest about what you actually know. Pull the requirements out of 5 real Tier 1 SOC job postings and score yourself against every single one. Threats. In a network, a threat is what can go wrong. In your career, the threat is a distance between your inventory and the job you want. But only the gaps that show up in the jobs you actually intend to apply to, not every buzzword in the field. That list is infinite, and chasing all of it is exactly how people prepare for 3 years and never apply. Controls. For each real gap, one concrete action that produces something you can show. A detection you wrote, a lab you built and broke, because I studied SIEM means nothing in an interview. Here's a detection I built, and here's the attack it caught, means everything. And scale. Put it on a calendar with real dates. A plan without a date is just a wish. That's the method from Altitude. The part we teach inside the program is the hard part. How you prioritize, what to build first, and how to talk about it in the room so an experienced professional walks in sounding like one. Now a warning, because this is where a lot of motivated people burn 6 months. The trap is falling in love with a specific product, one particular SIEM, one particular EDR, one particular sandbox. It feels productive, it's measurable, and once in a while it even works. Someone lands at a shop that happens to run the exact tool they studied, and they walk away thinking the tool was the reason. The problem is, you almost never know which stack a company runs until you're already in the interview. You study the market leader, you assume it's the safe bet, and then you hear, that's great, but we run something else. Study the process instead. Incident handling is a methodology. It has to work with any tool on the market or with none. Plenty of real investigation happens in a terminal and a text file. And different employers run genuinely different playbooks depending on their industry. A hospital's containment steps and a bank's are not the same document. Understand how to investigate an alert and why each step exists, and any tool becomes a week of onboarding. Learn only the buttons, and you're one procurement decision away from starting over. Tools are the controls layer. What you actually want is the reasoning underneath them. Now the honest version, because this channel doesn't trade in hype. The demand is real. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics projects 29% growth for information security analysts through 2034, far faster than almost any other field, and reports a median wage of about $125,000 as of May 2024. But read that median carefully. It covers the whole occupation, senior people included. It is not your starting number, and anyone who shows it to you has a starting number is selling something. So what does Tier 1 actually pay? Depending on whose data you read, anywhere from the low 50s to the mid 90s. And that spread isn't an error, it's telling you something. The lower numbers come from smaller shops and managed security providers, where pay is thinner and turnover is high. The higher numbers come from big enterprise security teams. Both are real. They're just counting different employers. Expect shift work early on. The SOC never sleeps, though overnight and weekend rotations usually add a few $1,000s in shift differential. And the single biggest raise of your early career isn't a certification. It's the jump from Tier 1 to Tier 2, which typically adds $15,000 to $25,000. One more honest number. Surveys of SOC analysts consistently find that most of them have thought about leaving within the year, and yet the same surveys find that most of them like the actual work. Sit with that. The work is engaging. It's the conditions, the volume, the burnout that wear people down, which means the people who last are the ones who came in with realistic expectations and real operational stamina. That is a description of someone who already survived a busy help desk. And here's the quiet reason the help desk route beats the bootcamp route. The workforce gap isn't mainly a shortage of people. Recent ISC Square research points to budget as the number one constraint on hiring. So you're not asking a manager to gamble on a total beginner, you're an experienced IT professional making a lateral move. That's a hire someone can actually get approved. So here's the reframe to walk out of this video with. The help desk was never where your career stalled. It's where you learned what a real network looks like under pressure, with a queue backing up behind you and users breathing down your neck. That is the exact thing a fresh graduate doesn't have, and the exact thing a SOC can't teach quickly. You've spent your whole career learning to tell the printer from the fire. The SOC will pay you more to do the same thing aimed at a smarter adversary. Take the inventory, name the threats, write the controls, put them on a calendar. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from the pillar most people never get. Cybersecurity is not rocket science. The full written breakdown is on the blog. The link is in the description. And if you want this kind of thinking in your inbox, our newsletter is called Keep It Safe. We'll see you in the next one.